How does God extend his nature to us before the outpouring activates it? God extends his nature to us through the envelope of the person called Christ, because he is the conveyor of the fullness of God. When you begin to study about Christ, there are 4 major dimensions you find. The first dimension you find is him as God the Son. The second dimension you find is him as Son of God. The third dimension you find is him as Son of Man. And the fourth dimension you find is him as the Christ. Now, if you have the revelation of these 4 dimensions, then you have the revelation of the complete personality called Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. He is God the Son because he is eternally co-equal with the Father. That means the Father is not bigger than him and is not bigger than the Father. The Father did not exist before him, neither will he exist after him. They have always been the same and equal in all eternity. That's why he's called God the Son. God the Son because we discover that later he was called Son, but God because he is God. So we didn't call him God the Son because we are trying to form a nomenclature for him. It's because in the Godhead, he was the one introduced as Son. But before he became Son of God, he was first of all God. He was first of all equal with the Father. You know, Jesus himself said the Father is greater than I. And I'll explain that to you. But before he said the Father is greater than I, there was a context in which him and the Father are one. Because he was God before he became man. So you need to know him as God so that you can honor him and worship him as God. In John chapter 1 verse 1, it said, in the beginning, God created the heaven. It said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was what? God. So Jesus is who? Is God. He is not smaller than God. He is co-equal eternally with God the Father. That's who he is. That's why the Bible said, great is the mystery of godliness. It said that God was manifested in the flesh. So Jesus is God in his fullness. No diminishing of capacity. He is God. In fact, when the prophet spoke about him in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, he said, a virgin shall give birth. He said, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. And he said, the government of this world shall be upon his shoulder. And he said, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor. And then the third name he called him is what? Mighty God. Everlasting Father. Because Jesus is equal with the Father. So he's called Mighty God, Everlasting Father. Do we get that? So in this context, we call him God the Son. Co-equal with the Father eternally. But now, God wanted to save man. God wanted to extend his government to man. God wanted to extend his reality to the realm of men. And the only way God could do it was for God himself to bring that reality. Because no angel could carry God's full reality. No being could carry God's full reality. Only God at this time could carry the fullness of God's reality. So what did God do? God decided on an act of his own authority and by the power of his wisdom to become man, using the gateway of the womb. And so God entered into a virgin and God was born as man. So the Bible said, and the word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.